The second week of this lifestyle project was my attempt to push myself a little farther and harder to lead a more sustainable life by changing my day-to-day practices in small but meaningful ways. I stuck with the same three areas, which were heating, water, and electricity. I made changes to these areas for 3 days out of the week for my second phase in order to push myself a little farther and better expose myself to possible challenges that come along with leading a sustainable life. The first topic I will cover is heating. Heating is the #1 use of electricity in America, and that is no different from my household. I chose this area because I felt like it would have the biggest impact on my energy consumption and my overall ecological footprint. According to energy.gov, every degree you lower your thermostat saves an average of 3% of energy off your monthly usage. Since I lowered my thermostat by 4 degrees, that's an average of 12% savings a month, and my average monthly kilowatt-hour use is 650, so that's about 78 kilowatt-hours saved, which translates to about 1.5 gallons of oil saved a day, 4.5 gallons of oil total during this phase of the intervention. Some ways that I coped with the lower temperatures was by leaving my blinds open in order to let heat enter my house easier. I set the ceiling fan to recirculate hot air, which was a feature I was unaware of until doing the research for this project, along with using my house's fireplace for heat when I felt the cold was too much to handle. The only problem I ran into was, again, convincing my other roommates not to turn up the heater past our agreed-upon point. The first week was easier to convince since it was only 2 degrees, but when I told them I would need to lower an additional 2 degrees, they resented. I was able to keep the heat down when I was there, but was unable to ensure it stayed in the same range while I was gone during these days. The second topic I focused on was water. Although I was mostly successful in reducing my water usage, some aspects of this choice were very uncomfortable. My first way of reducing water was by using a filled-up sink with soap to wash dishes rather than using running water. This was an uncomfortable process I debated on dropping for the second week, but I continued for the sake of the project. I decided to continue this practice because the water savings were considerably substantial. Since my sink dispenses about 3 gallons of water a minute, and I wash dishes for about 7 minutes a day, but it only holds about 5 gallons when filled. So by filling it rather than using running water, I saved about 48 gallons of water in 3 days. My next way of reducing water usage was by changing my shower head and my shower habits. I switched from an 8-gallon per minute head to a 2-gallon per minute head, along with cutting my shower time from 20 minutes to 10. Since my old shower head used about 8 gallons a minute, that means I used about 160 gallons of water before this project per shower, and 80 gallons per shower during the first week of the intervention. During the second week, with the same cut in shower time, I went down to 20 gallons per shower after installing a more efficient shower head. Although this habit in specific couldn't necessarily be constrained and measured in 3 specific days, in order to reduce my consumption even more, I reduced my laundry use from 2 loads a week to just 1. This was a difficult change personally in all areas. When considering the dishes, I was unsure if they were really clean since the water got dirty very quickly, and changing it seemed to defeat the purpose of the project. So I don't think I will incorporate this change into my normal daily life. When it comes to showering, I had troubles doing everything I needed to do in half the time that I normally use. I'd find myself towards the end of the time, towards 10 minutes, rushing, trying to wash off and finish everything that I needed to do. The final difficulty was having overflowing dirty clothes and very few clean clothes, since I limited myself on how many loads of laundry I could do a week. My final area of change was my electricity use. I made changes to both my morning routine and habits during the day to make the maximum impact. In my morning routine, I decided I was going to continue to not use my blow dryer, my flat iron, and I was going to remove half of the bathroom lights. Along with this, I got ready after my morning shower by the window to eliminate the need for artificial light whenever possible. This resulted in a total savings of about 1.4 kilowatt hours. As for my routine during the day, I removed half of the light bulbs from my room, along with switching the light bulbs I continued to use with fluorescent bulbs. I also used candle lighting whenever possible, whenever I wasn't doing anything that required good sight. I cut my TV use from 4 hours to 2, and made food again in a microwave rather than making a complicated dinner in an oven or a stove. Through these changes, I saved a total of about 3.7 kilowatt hours. The difficulties I had when it comes to electricity varied from hair problems, since I couldn't dry it or straighten it, to vision problems during the day, since window light in my room is very minimal, along with some boredom, since I only watch TV for half the time as I normally do. And another additional problem that was new to my second week was some fire danger that came up from using candles as lighting, since I have a very active dog who almost knocked over the candles multiple times. Overall, the biggest lessons I learned are that saving is very hard and difficult, but often worthwhile. It sucked taking shorter showers, not using my appliances, working in the dark or by candlelight, and dealing with the cold. But the water, energy, and money saved made these difficult changes seem much more worthwhile.